We're now exporting to 62 countries. Our very first customer was actually the Museum of Modern Art. Back in the day of being a product designer, I had time to read design blogs, and there are a couple of design blogs that us designers thought were pretty cool, mostly in America. So I thought it'd be a good idea to send them a press release and see if they fancied covering Trunky. And they did, which was fantastic. And I showed all my design peers, and they were well chuffed for me, and I was well chuffed and went home a happy man. And then opened my emails that evening and started getting a lot of inquiries from various people. Looked at my web stats, and they're going a bit crazy. We're having people in Japan and Australia and obviously the US all looking at the product, and it was literally only, it's hard to pinpoint when exactly, but within the first couple of weeks of trading, we started just getting bombarded by international inquiries. And then it was a real challenge of how to pick and choose those distributors, and all started becoming a little bit of a challenge because we just get inundated with inquiries. One Australian contact looked really good, then we got 3 more, then 4, and then who do we choose? And we ended up, I think for Australia, we've had 30 inquiries in our first year of trading. So picked up the phone, got some help from UKTI, who I believe are here. I don't know what they've said about UKTI so far, but they ran, hopefully they still do, a great program called Passport for Export, which I went on and really helped me define my international sales strategy. Why do we create these products? Well, we're really keen in enabling parents and carers to take their children off exploring the world. It's such, when you've got young ones, it's quite difficult to take that step and think, well, we could go on an abroad holiday or something. So we're really hoping that the products we supply really encourage that, and I truly believe that children can learn and develop so much having experienced foreign cultures. And it ties in quite nicely with our international business. So going global, where do you start? As a business, we pretty quickly, well, I've talked to you about the blogs, but it was looking at the web stats, and most of you probably using Google Analytics or whatever you are using, you can very quickly find out where the interest is coming from your website. So we're very strong in the UK. The United States is close behind, Australia, Canada, and then Russia, 5th. We've actually only just started working with Russia, so they don't really have product out in the market, but it's just through the power of the shop window that is your website, just spreading the word. So that's a great way to start looking for where to focus your attentions. And then picking trade shows that are relevant for your product or service. Unfortunately, because we're in toy, luggage and nursery, it keeps us pretty busy. This is our trade show stand at Kind & Jungen, the large nursery industry show in Cologne. That's in September. We started going to these shows and meeting our distributors and picking our distributors and finding them. Now we are working with a great range of distributors. It's a kind of a showcase for their customers that they take along to our stand. When choosing distributors, a great tip that UKTI gave me was send out a questionnaire. Ask them a load of questions if you've got more than one to choose from. It's really, really important. Ask them things like how long they've been trading, what other products they sell, what's their turnover, be cheeky. Ask them some cutting questions, and then ask them what they're prepared to do with your brand or your product service, how they intend to grow it. So when you've got lots of inquiries, you can lay your bits of paper out on the table and figure out who to choose. And rule number 1, if someone's not prepared to fill out the questionnaire, don't do business with them. Language, another key thing. We've just gone through a very painful process of translating into 17 languages, 32 SKUs. So this is an example of the back of one of our products where we've got a lot of translations on. But it's something we've only more recently done. Initially, very early on, we had a piece of packaging for every country, which ended up being a logistical nightmare, having so many different packaging SKUs. We then started consolidating them into European and global packaging. And now we've tried to squeeze it all on one. But the reason we can get away with that is because we invest very heavily in our product photography and videos. The front of the packaging should really use great photography that really explains what the product does in very simple words. And then we're really embracing QR codes, which are fairly popular in some countries and growing in popularity in others, that link directly through to our HD YouTube videos. So again, we've invested heavily in videoing all our products. You've seen a couple of the videos there. So that in store, people can use their smartphones. And videos just tell 1,000 words. So rather than getting too bogged down in translations, just keep it simple, whether it's your web page, your service, or your product packaging. Keep it to a minimum. Use the power of images and video to really explain what your products are. And we've touched on the website translations in previous seminars, so I won't talk too much about that. This is a great little case study of the power of video. This is supporting our distributors out in Spain and Valencia at their nursery show. We went out there. Initially, I thought, well, I've signed all these distributors up. They can get on with it, and I'll leave them be. But they need a lot of help and support. So more recently, we've been going around supporting them a lot more, turning up at the trade shows and dressing the stands for them, sending them all the marketing stuff they can need. But this is a great little example of being out there. Thought that a few more people might speak English. I don't speak Spanish, but we were there on hand to give product demonstrations, and hardly anyone spoke English. But everyone was captivated by our little videos we had on the little picture screens that just tell 1,000 words, so we didn't need to tell them what the product did because they got it from looking at the videos. And even the sales reps who did speak Spanish didn't really need to get that involved. So the power of video is really something that I think we can embrace to really help take products globally. Touched on support. We only do PR, so we try and encourage our distributors to do a lot of PR. Makes my day when we get these sent through, and certainly in different languages, just seeing your products. You've no idea what these things are saying about your products, but it's just great, isn't it? And even Indonesia have a baby magazine that we're in, so yeah, really supporting the distributors and convincing them of the powers of PR, helping them in every way you can by sharing all your press releases with them, all your product photography, and making their life easy. This is Dragon Air, which is one of China's fastest growing airlines, getting products listed at key areas where people need to read about our products. We even featured in the Taiwanese department store advert where a little boy was running around with a trunkie. That was pretty exciting. Mothercare Singapore organised trunkie races. So, something we actually haven't done in the UK just because of slight issues over liabilities and children falling off, but it's a concept that a lot of our distributors have embraced. Malaysia doing some sort of, what do they call it, a terrific trunkie competition. And a lot of the things we do in the UK and we try and share with our distributors to encourage them to do stuff. This is out in Korea doing Decorate Your Trunkie Day, where they get artists in. We did it a few years ago, and the likes of John Lewis and some of our leading independents started telling all our distributors about it, and they've started doing it. So it's really great to see ideas propagate across the world. Department store windows in Taiwan, Takashima, I think it is, which is a very high-end department store, working with our graphics team here in the UK to design the sort of window, but getting the opportunity to display in windows and kind of letting our distributors know we're there for them to support them in any of the marketing. And then you get these crazy things that really blow you away and make your day. This is a department store front in Bucharest that has the largest screen on the building, some world-breaking stat, but they put our video up on this screen in Bucharest. So really great way of sharing stuff is we've embraced a blog powered by WordPress, and it has two functions. It's password protected. So once you get in there, you have access to all our assets. So across the top, you can click on any of our products, download the images, the press releases, the videos, everything you possibly need, spec sheets, product dimensions, barcodes, everything. So it's all there in one place for people to get hold of. Cuts down a huge amount of inquiries we get from our distributors asking for stuff. But secondly, it's a great way of sharing some of the things I've talked to you about. So I actually downloaded all that content from our blog this morning to put into this presentation. And it's a great way to keep them engaged, keep them up to speed, and really sharing what all their other sort of peers are doing in the marketplace. Top story here, we've invented these little trunky Christmas hats that clip on behind the horns. Thought it would be a great little idea for our UK retailers, but click on that link, you've got access to the actual artwork and you can get it printed yourself. So really, it's really about sharing. And our mission is to create Trunkie into a global brand. So obviously marketing is absolutely crucial to that. That's why we've chosen to work with distributors rather than agents. Hope no agents are here in the room, but agents are just in it to make money for themselves, look after themselves. Distributors are obviously looking to help build a brand with you, so they're more inclined to help with the marketing side of things. So very quickly, breaking America. Something again that wasn't so easy. We didn't do it overnight. Very early on, we were approached by obviously the Museum of Modern Art was one of our first customers in their retail store. Started working with a small-scale nursery distributor quite early on, who was an expat, but he was a one-man band. He couldn't break America for us. He could just supply the product in a limited amount. Got quite excited at one point. We went to the Nuremberg International Toy Fair, met some really big cheeses out there, and they got very excited about the Trunky, so we flew over to Toronto to meet them. They were very excited. We started negotiating the deals, and the ball kept rolling. It all looked really promising. They were totally on board with our branding and our strategy, and agreed that it shouldn't go into Walmart just yet, maybe one day in the long distant future, but we wanted to start high end. And then they did a retail trial in Walmart. Okay, well, that's not going to go very well, is it? Not many people who shop in Walmart are global travelers, let alone not that many Americans. So that started raising alarm bells, and in the contract that we had negotiated, everything was stacking up apart from one thing, and they insisted on the right to change the brand name at their discretion. Well, that's pretty much our biggest asset, and our whole global mission statement is to grow our brand. So we ended up having to walk away from that deal. And you've got to have the confidence sometimes, if it doesn't smell right, just to walk away. So we carried on with our small-scale distributor in the US, who's just doing a couple of tens of thousands a year, but no big numbers. And I started talking to a few peers in my industry about how they tackled the US. And one story really resonated with me. And a British toy manufacturer was getting huge success in the US. They decided to set up their own business out there. And it all took off, and all their cash flow and all their production and all their headspace went into growing this big monster that was the US. And then they looked over their shoulder, and their company in the UK was just about to fall over. All their attention had been soaked up on America, all their production, everything had been on America, and they completely forgot about their bread and butter, the UK. And they ended up licensing the brand out in the States because they just couldn't handle it anymore. And I thought, rather than go down that road, I'd quite like to license it from day one. So that was what the talks in America that I just described were. And then we went back out to market to try and find another distributor that could take it on, a large toy company. Another sticking point for America for us is there's a 20% import duty on any product that is a plastic suitcase from China. So that puts the price up quite significantly. So we had to find a manufacturer who was going to be prepared to make it in the US. And we did. We found a great company called Melissa & Doug, which is one of the fastest growing American toy businesses. There's an American version of Trunky. It even has an accent. They're made in New Jersey, just outside Newark Airport. And that was a great day after kind of a whole year of setting it up, re-engineering the product a bit, having the first Trunkies come down the production line. And that allows us to stay very focused on what we like to do, which is inventing really cool travel products. These guys can finance the whole US themselves. It's their tooling, it's their sales force, who are very, very hungry, which is great. And they can just get on with it, and we get our royalty checks, which we can then reinvest in new products that they can distribute. So it's a great little circle we've built for the US. It works really well. It's something we're perhaps looking to replicate in the likes of India to get our product at a very attainable price point. And certainly if you can get it to work, you've heard some horror stories from me earlier on, but if you can get it to work, it's a great way to do business. Also, Melissa & Doug, another sticking point with them was in true American style. They said, oh, we don't do marketing. Everyone knows about Melissa & Doug in America. Okay, well, they don't know about Trunky. How are they going to know about it? So through sharing with them some of the stories I've told you and the blog, they've really got a bit more of a taste for marketing and the power it can deliver. And they've actually decided to take some people on in-house to do marketing. You'd have thought a company of 200 people in the toy industry might actually have a marketing department, but no, they didn't. So we've actually inspired them to really embrace marketing. And the very first press release they put out got picked up by PR Newswire in Times Square. So I think, yeah, they got a bit of an eye-opener then. And things are going on really well with the States. They've had it on the Today Show 4 times in the last 12 months, which is one of the largest circulation TV shows out there. And it's looking really good. Eventually. And this is their Halloween party they did this year. They all got dressed up in Trunky theme, kind of, I don't know, had some kind of disco called Trunky Town. didn't quite understand exactly what they were doing, but you know when you get pictures like this, you're working with the right partners. So that kind of brings me to the end of the presentation. Captures one of our missions. And I'd just like to finish with a great quote I've heard from a fellow speaker, and that's, have a dream, share your vision, and play with whoever turns up. Thank you.